So I want to explore this subject here, this thought of talk about the importance of taking risks, right? I have a friend and he says, um, I'm not going to allow people to put me in a box, and he says there's only one box I'm going to be in, and that's the box that when I die they bury me in. And so as a people, you're young, you're 39 years old. Talk about the importance of going after your dreams and taking risks and not staying within a box.
I think taking a risk changed your life. Like I don't think a lot of people want to change their life. Like they're comfortable in like their box.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take the risk and sacrifice something or get the monkey off your back,
Yeah.
it elevates you. Like as time progresses, everything about you changes. Life changes, family changes, dynamics of relationship, friendships, all those things change.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it could be where you expose other people's lazy mindset, or sometimes they could applaud you because like they can't do it for whatever reasons in life, like married with kids or taking care of their parents, not having that self-confidence. So for me, risk is everything. Like my whole life has been a risk.
Yeah.
So, and it's just me getting that exposure helped me. Like, small town, grew up in. The main things I saw growing up, sugarcane workers, offshore workers, are just, local everyday jobs.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, some of those jobs did make good money, but that's all they knew. You either was going to do one or the other. As a male, you was going to either work offshore, or you was going to work in the seasonally in the sugarcane field. Outside of that, I didn't know nothing else, So we moved a lot. Every 2 years, we was moving from place to place. So it gave me exposure, like, just to see different things.
Yeah.
But having that country background, you grow up faster. Like most people think the city kids grow up faster.
Yeah.
Country guys grow up faster.
Why do you think? Break that down. I've never really heard that before because I'm like you. City kids grow up faster.
Yeah, like city kids are green.
Okay.
Like they think they're wise or they up on game, but country kids are. We have more. We're built to be leaders when you're in the country.
Okay.
In the country, growing up, it's, hey, you know what? Summertime, let's say that, summertime. My average summer day was wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, go to the rec.
Okay.
My grandparents, my mama, they not dropping us off. We walking 3-4 miles to the rec. All right? We at the rec all day. The rec feed us breakfast, lunch. All right? After the rec, we go to the pool. After that, we might go to a friend's house.
Yeah.
But in that process of all of that, we are the adults in a sense. Like, we're in control of the day. So, like, we're finding out shortcuts to make the trip shorter. We're getting in trouble, per se. We're doing things just, if it's running into the apartments playing nigga knock.
Okay.
Nigga
knock. Now, what's that now?
You never played nigga knock?
Nah, nigga knock. What's that?
I don't know what they call it now.
Okay.
But, it's basically, I'm knocking on the door and we running.
About to get shot. That's what you about to do.
You knocking on the person's door and you running.
Okay.
So, but
you could do that back in the day. You probably
should
try that today.
Yeah, you should probably do it now because it's different times.
Sure.
I had more ownership put on me to make sure I get home. We could be walking home. My grandfather could be passing us. He gonna stop and see it's us, and he gonna take off.
Okay.
Y'all got here on your own. You gonna get back home on your own.
Okay.
So we was able, dusk when the sun started going down. It's time to get home. But we was wise enough to know, like, hey, we all the way across town. Let's go to my aunt's house. just so she could see us, she gonna call grandma,
Mm-hmm.
tell grandma, oh, I just saw your boys.
Yeah.
They on their way home. But that buys us time. That's our alibi.
Yeah.
You know, so like we just you're put in positions where you have more responsibility earlier than city kids.
Okay.
You know, like when I moved to Huntsville, I thought everybody was green. Yeah. Like my age range. Mm-hmm. And so before we moved to Huntsville, I was in Baton Rouge. And I lived in East Baton Rouge, but I went to school in South Baton Rouge to this magnet school. And so I learned the city before my mom.
Okay.
Even when we moved to Huntsville, I taught my mom Huntsville.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it was just because I've already had that Dora spirit in a sense. I was the explorer growing up. You know, like we walking through the cane field shortcuts. You know, we cut through the cemetery to cut off 30 minutes to get across town.
Yeah.
Or we riding bikes. You know, wherever we at. We was exploring on our own, like, you know, like knowing places that our parents didn't know about. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like our parents was like, oh, you got to do this. It's like, nah, like, yo, if we ain't at the house playing a game during the summer or anytime, we outside.
Yeah.
And outside was our own domain, you know, and I grew up with older kids as well. So, like, having those things around, it already was put into me, like, you a risk taker anyway. Okay. We risking it every day, walking, you know, going through whatever, and kids being kids, you know, we stealing bikes or we doing mischievous things. So we running from other adults or we're doing things to jumping in the pool when we shouldn't be in the pool. Mm-hmm. So I've been taking risks my whole life. Okay. But as an adult, it helped me. Yeah. I don't think most city kids I meet that was raised in the city, they're under me in thinking. Mm-hmm. And I believe that is because the atmosphere I was raised in. I was raised in an atmosphere like, yo, nah, you the leader. Okay. You know, and you got to be the leader. You got to think for yourself. You got to have critical thinking skills. Yeah. Whereas, you know, a city kid, let's just say bus or train situation, they're not really walking on their own. Mm-hmm. You know, like, yo, I'm riding the bus gonna stop here, it's gonna take me here. Mm-hmm. No, like every footstep is my actual footprint. Yeah. I don't think city kids have footprints in every moment they lived in growing up. Okay. Even though they was away from their parents, stuff like that. But it's like, yo, you're gonna ride this bus to here. Mm-hmm. You're gonna ride this train to here. Mm-hmm. And that was it. With us, yo, I'm walking every day. We riding our own bikes across town. Yeah. Parents essentially they don't know where we at. Mm-hmm. But, you know, at the end of the day, if something ever went wrong, they knew when we got home. Yeah. And that's why I feel like my ideal of country kids grow up faster. Okay. Or they're more knowledgeable than the city kids. So you just have experience and exposure, like, where you're not coddled in a sense. Yeah. You know, like, city kid, I know you're going to be home at this time from school because the bus schedule is this. Mm-hmm. The bus gonna drop off every 15 minutes. Yeah. It's gonna take you 20 minutes to walk home. You're gonna be home. Yeah. Whereas with us, we may not even ride the bus home. We just, go to our nanny house or whoever house. Yeah. Play in that area of town, and we just know to get home before it get dark. And if we can't get home before dark, we know some house to go to because they're gonna call grandma or my grandfather or whoever at the time. Yeah. So what I hear you saying is that basically, really, the seed was kind of planted in you at a young age through just everyday life. Yeah, definitely. You know, man, even as a adolescent, even in like coming from middle school to high school, I think my mom stopped asking about report cards maybe 9th grade. Oh, really? Yeah. Like I never had a curfew. I wasn't a troublemaker per se. Okay. You know, but made great grades, and she always gave me that, like, yo, you make your own decisions. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, it was strict. My mom was strict. Okay. But it wasn't like I'm gonna hold your hand in these teenage years. Like, no, like, you already know what your responsibilities are. Handle them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've done my whole life. So, moving into entrepreneurship. Before that, I'll say this. I'm gonna tell you something that did help me as well. tithing and offering.
Okay.
You know, like me and my mom, like as I was growing older, she kind of let me get my own testimony. But in the process of it, as I gave, like, you know what I'm saying, like it may be $1,000 seed. You know, she may match my, you know, 500 her and 500 me, or it's me giving those things. It helped get the monkey off of me.
Okay.
Where you started understanding that money don't control you.
Yeah.
And that was a part that do help you risk better in a sense. When you realize the money don't control you. When the money control you, hey, I can't do this risk because I need that money to pay a bill. But when you start understanding, like, hey, I'm gonna sacrifice it right now because it's a return gonna happen on it. I just got to do the work or whatever that is. That's a risk.
Yeah.
I'm sacrificing now for later, and I'm not worried about if the risk now, the sacrifice now, don't come into fruition for another 5 years. I know in my mind it will come back.
Yeah.
So a lot of my wins per se, I see like, okay, boom. I remember when I first gave $1,000, and now it's like, oh, like $1,000 is essentially it's still 1,000, but it don't hurt you as much because you understand where the 1,000 is going.
Yeah.
So now I get it.
Yeah. I mean, this is good. This is good because, I mean, first of all, you drop so many nuggets. And, you know what I'm saying? I want to make sure we stay focused because we got more questions we want to go through. But there's several things you talked about that I want to try to hit really quick. So let's just do this because you just came off of it, and I'll come back to the top of my question. So really, you know, we live in this generation because what you just talked about is delayed gratification.
Correct.
Right? So we live in this generation today where we see social media. People, again, we talked about it early, looks like they're overnight success, but that's really not the case. And as being an entrepreneur, right, you go into business to make money.
Correct.
How do we balance this desire to make money and understanding that there's a sacrifice, but knowing that we may not be able to eat really today, but it's going to take some time down the road? How do you balance that? And knowing that what you're doing today is going to pay off, but you gotta have delayed gratification. What do you say to that?
You have to know you can't live in now.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. When I first went off to college, I got stuck. Right, life in so many words. Let's just say life happens, and one day I asked myself, Sean, are you need the now or you need the future? All right, I chose now in that moment. So now meant I dropped out of school. I worked because I had the bills. All right. At some point, it finally hit like, no, I gotta worry about my future.
Yeah.
All right. When I started worrying about the future, that's when everything started working for me. Yes, it was a lot of work, a lot of hours put in, or of studying, or let's say this, becoming a trailblazer. Like I didn't have the upfront help to become who I am today. I had to literally self-learn roughly everything.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I used to pray for the help, right? And like, yo, Lord, send me like 3 people to make my hustle a business.
Yeah. All
right. So the people came. They didn't come like instantly. It came after I was in a good groove, and it was time to shift. So when that moment happened, I shifted to the business side of things and not just being a hustler in a sense.
Okay.
So to me, how I balance out the two of now and the future is I always worry about the future.
Okay.
Like I'll have fun now, but like even when I have the high harvest seasons, where the money's good, the material things is good.
Sure.
I'm still putting things away for the future. So yeah, this may be a good season now, but in the future, I'm going to have things in place just in case, because we all know this is a risk. It's not going to be high seasons every moment of harvest.
Yeah.
So I go now when it's high, I put away.
Yeah.
And I've learned to budget and balance where, hey, this month may be a big month, but this big month can take care of 4 months for me. Let me balance it out.
Yeah.
Let me learn when to splurge. Let me learn when not to have fun. Or better yet, let me get the things I want when I do splurge, where when it's a low season, I can still look like I'm splurging.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if for me it's shoes. I may buy shoes this year. I may not wear it till next year. But in those low months, when, you know, your mental won't be as high, when in those high months, your mental works against you, the stress levels and stuff like that. Now I can unstress myself when I feel like, you know, retail therapy or something.
Yeah.
I can go in the closet, new shoes or new shirt or something that's been purchased in the past, but it's working for my future.
Yeah. Enjoying, like you said, enjoying the present, but also keeping your future in the mind. So you said this at the beginning. You said, my question was about taking risks. And you said risks change your life. So what would you say to the person that will hear or listen to this podcast and says, you know, at one point in time, I would have taken some risk. However, maybe I'm older now. I've got some responsibilities. Perhaps I've got some kids, or maybe I have a wife, or whatever the case may be. What do you say to that person says, I'm not really in a place to take risk at this state in my life? What would you say to that person?
Work in excellence at your level.
Okay.
You don't have to compare yourself to the next person. You know, so to me, you work on your level. Like, let's just say, if it's a product business, you know, if you making beanies to put on your head, if you can't afford to get 100 beanies and you only can afford 10, start with the 10.
Yeah.
You know, work your way up to the bigger level. Like, some people end up comparison. That's what it is. They're comparing themselves to the next business. I don't look successful. I don't look like I'm doing anything because the next business has so much stock, so much volume.
Yeah.
But again, like, you have to get yourself to that point. I think we always start a business or we start a hobby or something, and we kind of look at the blueprint of another person or business, and we see what they're doing, which tarnish what we can do.
Yeah.
So simply, all you have to do, hey, you know what? I can afford 10. All right, so I'm gonna get that 10. I'm gonna sell it, or if I need to give it away to make my 10 look, well, not to say my 10 look bigger, but to get me to the bigger.
Okay.
I see an influential, someone of influence.
Yeah.
Hey, I jump in the DM. I'm like, yo, can I send you a beanie? Blah, blah, blah. You know?
Yeah.
It could propel you. So, but you still have to do the homework of the business. You know, me and my homeboys was just talking about the way now, like, a lot of companies aren't actually buying things up front.
Okay.
They're making the graphics, they're putting out the image of everything what they will sell. Are they getting the prototype and they putting it on the link?
Okay. And
you go into the link and you're just buying it, and they're flipping that money to pay for the order.
Wow. And
that way you can grow faster. You don't have the money per se. So it's the ways, like, but I think most people have to do the research. A lot of people don't do the research. They give themselves the excuse not to do it. So instead of self-sabotaging yourself, like, go into the lab or whatever that is. The lab could be YouTube. The lab could be Instagram, Facebook. It's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. A lot of people just give information out. They give you the base of the information, but you got to go and do the homework. And you can just slowly better yourself where you can become into what you're trying to do better or more. Okay. So I never would tell somebody, like, starting small. That's what you want to do. You want to start small. Okay. Because you want to learn everything. Most people are not learning everything. They're starting businesses and they just throwing it off on somebody else and it's failing. Yeah. So, like, you as the business owner, you got to do the work. Right. You can't expect another person to come in and do the work for you.
Yeah.
They will do the work for money.
Yeah.
But their passion level won't be there. Your passion level has to rub off on the workers.
Yeah.
You know, that you have hired or the help that you have.
Right.
Your passion dictates how far the business goes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're passionate about it, it'll go far. And it'll thrive if you do the work. But if you don't know how to handle the business and you gotta reach out to the person you hired,
yeah,
you lost.
Mm-hmm.